This lesson is going to introduce you to the irregular verbs volo, nolo, and malo. And these are all introduced. So first, volo, to be willing. Nolo, to be unwilling. Nolo is really a contraction of non volo. And malo, to prefer, because it's a contraction of magis and volo. To wish, to be willing more, to be more willing. And so these are all introduced at the same time because nolo and malo are compounds of volo. So if you know how to conjugate volo, you'll have some idea how to work with nolo and malo. Now the good news about the irregularity of these verbs is that they're only irregular in the present tense. Present, indicative, and subjunctive. Otherwise, they're completely regular. Just treat them like third conjugation verbs with the stem that you'll see. So, vol, vole, nole, and male, and it'll be perfectly fine. Third conjugation verbs, but in the present, indicative and subjunctive, that's where they're weird. So, volo, to begin with, the basic form. Present tense, indicative. Volo, vis, volt, volumus, voltus, volunt. You'll notice the endings are regular. It's the stem that's a little strange. And the same thing in the subjunctive, velim, velis, velit, velimus, velitus, velint. This is the present subjunctive. Our endings are regular, but our stem, well, with this I. So velim, velis, velit, velimus, velitus, velint. Just to note, the imperfect subjunctive is completely regular based on this infinitive. So velem, veles, velet, and so on. The imperfect, just to show you that this in fact is a third conjugation verb. Volebam, volebas, volebat, volebamus, volebatus, volebant. So we get our stem vol with our EBA and our ending. Volebam, volebas, volebat. The future also, we got our stem vol, and then it's going to conjugate like a future third conjugation verb. Volam, voles, volet, volemus, voletus, volent. Now on to nolo. Here's volo for your review. Volo, vis, volt, volumus, voltus, volunt. Nolo, you'll notice, is very similar. Nolo, non vis. It does not contract in the second person singular or in the third singular. Non volt contracts back in the first person. We are unwilling. Nolumus. Non voltus, second plural. No contraction. And nolunt, contraction again. So the question is, when does it contract? When doesn't it? If the form of volo had an O in it, then it contracts. That is, it's very easy to contract non volo. We get the same O sound. So non volo becomes nolo. But if there's no O, there's no contraction. And that's why we get it in volumus to nolumus and volunt to nolant. The subjunctive, stem very close to velim, velis, velit. We still have that I marking the subjunctive. Nolim, nolis, nolit, nolimus, nolitus, nolint. The imperfect in the future, again, if you recognize this is a third conjugation verb, nolebam, nolebas, nolebat, nolebamus, nolebatus, nolebant. And in the future, again, same stem, nol, and a perfectly normal third conjugation future. Nolam, noles, nolet, nolemus, noletus, nolent. On to malo. So just to review, we had volo, vis, volt, Volomus, voltus, volunt, and nolo, non vis, non volt, nolumus, non voltus, nolunt, which contracted in those situations where volo had an O. And we're going to see the same thing here. So we're going to have malo. And then that magus actually becomes shortened to ma, and this is one word, so ma vis, ma volt. But not ma volumus, but malumus. So it contracts just like nolumus did. Ma voltus, right? No, we're going to keep the full form of voltus just like we did with non voltus. And malunt, a contraction just like we had with nolunt. Subjunctive forms very much like volo and nolo, malim, so we have our stem of mal plus im, is, it, imus, itus, int. And finally, the imperfect in future. Again, if you treat this like a third conjugation verb, malebam, malebas, malebat, malam, males, malet, malemus, maletus, malent. You'll be perfectly fine working with this verb. So memorize those present endings, the present forms, and the rest should fall into place as good third conjugations. Now I'm going to give you one more word of warning or hint. Malo means to prefer. You will oftentimes confuse it with the adjective malus, bad. Don't do that. These are not the same word. So if you see mal plus a personal ending, and it's in a place where you'd expect a verb, it means I prefer. Not anything to do with bad. Nothing to do with malus.